Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you more Race Survival series. We are in game number 6 of week number 3. We have 815, who has finally taken down Tyson. Tyson had an insane winning streak, 4 wins in a row, and this leaves us with our last Zerg and our last Terran player, who will now battle to see who tries to take out Movie and YSC from Team Protoss. So yes, once again, we have 815 in the bottom, and up at the top, we have Royal. So I think most people would say that Royal is a bit better than 815, but 815 is super dangerous, and actually I think the matchup for 815 isn't bad stylistically against Royal. Royal is actually, like, his ID before was Sorry, but he switched it to Royal more recently, and I actually think it's a good ID for him because he's a little bit fancy with his play, and we all know Royals are fancy, right? But no, seriously, he's he almost gets too fancy sometimes. This is like the guy who uses ghosts and nukes and a lot of technical builds as well, similar to Sock in that regard a little bit, but a little bit more, a little different. It's a different feel, and I think you'll probably end up seeing that. Anyways, 815 being a more aggressive Zerg, generally that's going to work out against some of the fancier players. If the fancy player has like a perfect opening, obviously then an aggressive player is going to be really badly hurt. But like, for instance, look, he's doing an 8 racks here where he's just going to float it out to build Marines. Again, fancy, right? Most people send their SCV to the center of the map. Him, no way. We make it here and we float it out. But he's gone pool first, right? An aggressive opening himself. So the 8 racks won't do anything at all against 815 here. In fact, making 6 Zerglings. So he is super duper safe. By the way, I didn't mention, but the map is Destination. Destination's an insane map. You have these mineral patches that have 0 on them, so you can mine through here and run units up the back. The mineral lines are like really wide open, so mutalisk harassment is especially good here. So generally, you won't see SK Terran on this map. You'll almost always see some sort of tech opening, and here, this is going to be an 8 racks into factory and starport build likely. Although it could just be 8 racks factory. Generally, this build goes into starport as well. So there you go. The factory is coming down. The 2 Marines coming back, and he'll start a depot here as they get in for that tight wall against the Zerglings that are incoming. And of course, with 2 Marines, you're 100% completely safe. There's no issue. The only issue would be that this is low on health, so if he wanted to, he could try to dive on the SCV and break it down, but realistically against 2 Marines, that's not a good idea. So he scouts it. It's whatever. He's fine with it. The Zerglings just kind of going around the map a little bit, seeing what's what. And we see that Royal has taken everyone off gas, so this will be just the factory into command center. Oh, nice. Picks that off. He's just slowing the factory a little bit here. And you do want to slow it a bit because you need time to get your sunken colony up and all that. Also, he's going to want to watch out for any possible mining out of this set of mineral patches because that's where a vulture can run up and really do some damage. So yeah, vulture's very popular on this map because of that. All right, command center being built on the high ground. I didn't check in time to see if he saw that. I believe he just barely did not, but he might have seen the edge of it. Not 100% sure. Either way, I think he should be ready. I'm not too worried. So there's the creep colony here for 815. Got to get that up to make sure that the vulture doesn't run in and kill you. Now, Destination, I almost said 815. 815 is actually the name of an old map as well that was insane. It has the tiniest ramp ever made, where you couldn't even have big units go down it. It was a very strange map. Anyways, a little side. This is super different and weird with the 2 bridges coming over and how wide the natural is. They don't make maps like Destination anymore. It was considered a great map back then. Nowadays, not really. It's considered pretty imbalanced overall and pretty, like, there's a lot of turtley positions on it. But anyways, the double bridge, sometimes you have to be a little bit scared. Like, if they make multiple vultures, like, let's say you run vultures in this way, you're only going to take, like, 1 hit from the sunken. Whereas in a normal natural, you're taking, like, 3 hits. So it's a gigantic difference because you just get out of range quickly. And look, he's setting up a Sim City to make sure that if there are multiple vultures, it's not going to be an issue. He even sits a Zergling underneath an Overlord here. because then you cannot target it with the Vulture, and the Sunken will have higher priority. So you'd have to pull the Vulture over here, hold position it, and then it would attack the Zergling. Okay, enough of that. Second factory, eBay coming up. He has the armory. It's the Goliath build. Excellent. The Goliath build is a strong choice for a map like this. Like I mentioned, the minerals are super wide open. Like this is... the amount of turrets you would need to defend this main base, if you didn't have super long range, which would either be Valkyries, Wraiths, or Goliaths. Not that Wraiths have long range, but like those are very mobile anti-air, whereas Marines don't really count in these situations. Like Mutas will shred Marines over around these mineral patches. But you would need so many turrets, it just doesn't even make sense. So you'll never see a bio build on a map like this without tech first, at least. Like you can definitely go bio after like a Valkyrie or something. So throwing down a couple of turrets here. Of course, the Goliaths with their range upgrade are going to be able to push Mutas back as well. 815, pop in a bunch of Mutas. Has his 3 hatches set up in a defensive formation. I really like the SimCity. I think that's a fantastic SimCity by 815. Very nice looking. He is getting +1 attack for the Mutas as well, so we may see a big commitment on those Mutas, which actually, Mutas, this is going to sound weird, but Mutas actually beat Goliaths. Like if he makes Goliaths nonstop, and 815 makes Mutas nonstop, the Mutas will actually win, and he'll win the game if 815 attacks. But the millisecond that you add in splash damage as Terran, the Mutas get absolutely destroyed. So, if you want to go pure Muta, Terran has to not find out about it. Because when they find out, they can counter it. So yeah, there are weird plays like that, though. You actually will see that even at very high levels, where occasionally the Zerg will just stay on Mutas and hope that there's a move out that they can crush. I don't know if that's going to be the case. We've seen Evolution Chamber, so it doesn't look like it. Burrow is on the way, which is a super popular upgrade. In these types of situations against mech, you can burrow Zerglings on all the expansions, as well as in paths to see Goliaths moving around, because you just don't get a vessel to walk around with the Goliaths, right? So the burrow lasts for an extremely long amount of time. Comm stats are always late as well, so you're not going to scan to find those Zerglings. It'll slow expansions. It does a lot of stuff. It's a very smart move. And we just saw, as I was clicking on that Evolution Chamber, +1 ranged attack. So definitely a switch into Hydras coming up for 815, but making a healthy amount of Mutas. He's not particularly skimping on them, right? Like, we already have a decent group, 3 more coming out. Yeah, so he's getting like over a group, it looks like, right? Yeah, we see 12 already. We'll see if he goes any more than that. 12 would actually be a very strange number, because a group of Mutas is actually 11. Yeah, he's making more. Okay. Because if you wanted to stop at 12, you would actually stop at 11. Because Mutas need to be grouped with something like an Overlord, so that they stay stacked. It's an old grouping trick. So you can't really fly around with a stack of 12. It doesn't really work. They spread off of each other a lot. All right, so good defense so far here from Royal. We have the science facility on the way. So this is more of a macro Goliath build rather than a timing attack Goliath build. And with that science facility, and yeah, is there an academy yet? We don't see an academy yet. So he doesn't have a lot of intel as to what's going on the map, right? Like, we actually, if we turn off the vision of 815, you can see how dark and scary the map is right now. In fact, he's even making a bunker. This is how little he knows about what's going on, that he's just kind of defending. The first time you're really going to get a good scout with a macro-esque build like this after the beginning of the game is with speed vultures, where you're just going to run them out and just kind of try to figure out what's going on, what units are they making, all that. See, look at this. This is a lot of Mutas, man. 11 there and another, is that 9 here? So that's 20 Mutas getting ready to fly in. And, like, for instance, 20 Mutas can beat all this. Absolutely. And here we go. He's going to show us. 815 diving into the natural here. Royal does bring down his other Goliaths. Does he have enough to stop these Mutalisks? It looks like 815 thinks so. He will start to fly out. Picks off a few SCVs here as well. But honestly, I don't think that was a bad move. I think that was fine. He was kind of checking what was going on. He killed some SCVs. He killed some Goliaths. He's going to force more anti-air. And in fact, at this point, you're making... Yeah, he does have a science vessel on the way. And you're probably going to want to get a radiate, which is going to reduce the siege tank count because you're so low on gas right now as the mech player. So I think, yeah, a cool idea. Still more mutas being made. Of course, he's going to want to switch off of the mutas once Irradiate is out. That's for sure. Flying into the main base now. Just turrets here. And you can see how quickly this gigantic flock of mutas is going to be able to take those down. The Goliath's getting absolutely wrecked as well. Irradiate has been started, and he sees that. Still so much damage by 815. Royal in some trouble now. His SCV count falls below the current drone count in this game. And you can see how ineffectual these Goliaths and turrets are against this gigantic group of mutas. Eventually, 815 decides to leave. Dude, I gotta tell you, I think he's playing an awesome game here, 815. Few Speed Vultures trying to get in. Okay, this is some decent counterplay. Try to get a few drones. Doesn't seem like he's getting that much comparatively, though. That's for sure. Look at this. A dive on the command center. Got a good, like, 18 mutas here or so. Or almost 20, I guess. And he's actually going to get the command center. Oh, my God. Okay, so... Huh. Like, Royal, I think, is pretty dead. Like, you don't lose a command center, then win the game. One command center is like, it's like that old army saying, like, 1 is none and 2 is 1. That's the kind of feel you get with just one base. Like, you can't support anything. Now, he does have a Valkyrie added, and he gets an Irradiate off. The Irradiate is absolutely fantastic. Oh, my God. He nailed... That Irradiate's the best Irradiate ever. Look at this. 8 kills for 1 Irradiate. Are you kidding me? Plus the amount of damage it did elsewhere. He got the Irradiate in the very middle of the clump, and 815 could not get the muta out. There's a special way you click to try to get that. Beautifully done. Wow. So the mutas have been shredded. But honestly, I think you have to move out as Terran, as Royal here. Because, like, you lost your command center. You're never going to have a better moment than when you just killed their mutas, right? I think. Looks like he's going to just chill. Oh, I don't know about this. Lots of Hydras being made now. More macro hatcheries. Look at this. He's getting his that's +2, right? Yeah, +2 on Hydras. +1 carapace on the mutas. He's got his 4th base up. The Bengalis just chilling in the mineral line. And it's 3 factories. We have 2-1 upgrades, which is really good. We're getting science vessels. That's really good. Maybe... Oh. No, well, again, he doesn't have a lot of intel. We don't have comsat scanners, and he can't even afford them now, since he's only on 1 mining base, effectively. But yeah, I guess the vultures running around are giving him a little bit of this intel that he really needs siege tanks and not anti-air anymore. He is going to have 3 vessels, which is really, really strong. But I don't... Like, can he actually get to, on 3 factories here, a siege tank count that will allow him to get a 3rd base? Because the 3rd bases on this map are a little bit tricky, right? So you have this one, which once you have it, it's really hard to break this area. But it's so disconnected from your other location, right? So, like, either you hold this entire area, or you hold this area and you hold this area, and you can't ever help this area. Okay, so that's... And, I mean, he could probably hold this area. A little bit easier is to push in this direction and take this area. Because this does have a ramp, and then you have this stuff here, and you can kind of put a line of siege tanks here, and it's kind of covered by this. But yeah, I don't know what the plan is for Royal. He is in a tough spot, no doubt. Siege mode is almost done. We have a dropship out here as well. Still some vulture harassment going on, which is nice, but a higher drone count than SCV count at the moment. More hatcheries going up. And now queens. Well, that's a great way to do it, man, is going for queens here. Obviously, the spawn broodling spell, one-shot siege tanks, Goliaths, vultures, what have you. It costs a lot. 150 mana is a huge amount. And it takes a long time to gain that much, but there's so much control here for 815. I think it's a great choice. And I feel like that brings away any chance for Royal to win this game. Like, that alone. Like, if you try to just kill him with Hydras, maybe he gets so cost-efficient that it turns into an hour-long game and he barely wins. Because that's kind of how far ahead we have 8:15 right now. But when you put queens in, if a queen broodlings a tank one time, it's paid for itself. So if you basically cast your broodling spells, you're trading evenly. and then it's like, well, Zerg has like 3 times as many bases as you. So there's just no way. You just can't be cost efficient enough at that point. You have to have a big economy to play against queens in this matchup. All right, so he is spreading out. He's trying to control this whole area, like I was mentioning before. Throwing down some mines. I mean, he's got the vessels. I could see him, if he figures out about the queens, getting EMP is not a terrible idea. A lot of times the queens come in clumped up because they've been cloned to broodling the tanks, and the only way to really deal with that is EMP. Kind of a weird spell to get against Zerg, but it is possible. Ursadon protecting him. First line of defense. Third CC coming down. Comsat's going to be coming up eventually here. 3-2 upgrades. That's pretty gigantic. Mech at 3-2 is like... Well, that's about Terran endgame right there. All right, the queens are ready. So we have... Yeah, that's a good amount of queens. 7 queens. So he's going to be able to take out 7 siege tanks if he can spot them. Now, this is a very common setup with mech where you're going to throw down turrets as well as Goliaths. And this can zone out queens a lot of the time where you'll actually just kill them before they get into the siege tanks. Mutas are going to fly in. And let's see how he does this. Okay, the Mutas fly in to the tanks. And here we go. The Broodlings starting to come out. Some beautiful Broodlings get 2 of the tanks immediately. A third one goes down as well. A Radiate's being cast all over these queens. More siege tanks being picked off. As the Hydras come in, nothing really left over. He's going to lose his command center. In fact, it's going to get infested. Infest this command center for me, please. Yes! That is it right there. And this is going to be GG. Nothing really left for Royal. That is the end of it. You can't really make much more else happen as the Terran player here, right? Like, you've been broodling all to hell. 9 more queens are on the way. And yeah, we should be seeing GG like any second. So 8:15 coming back strong for Team Zerg, but he is going to have 2 more Protosses he needs to beat if Zerg is to win this week. Movie and YSC, and one of those players will be up next.